Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today's video is going to be another installment in my top 3 favorites in every category series. Today we're talking cheeks. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today's video is going to be an overview of all of my top 3 favorite cheek products. So that means blush, bronzer, and highlight. And since I have cream and powder options for all 3 of those categories, we're going to be here for a while. So let me just get down to it. But before we do that, hi, my name is Maaike. I live in the Netherlands. I like to come on here to chat about makeup from a fair-skinned, cool tone, neutral perspective, because that's what I've got going on in my skin tone. And that's why my makeup preferences are just slightly different. And that, of course, goes into what my favorites are like. I've been reviewing makeup for more than a decade. I love trying out Essence and Catrice eyeshadow palettes and getting the use out of my makeup. So if that sounds interesting to you, then maybe you would like to consider subscribing and joining my little family over here. Yes, as I mentioned, we have multiples. So I have my favorite cream bronzers and my favorite powder bronzers. I have my favorite cream blush, my favorite liquid blush, and my favorite powder blush. I have my favorite powder highlighters and my favorite liquid and cream highlighters. It's a whole thing. Because when it comes to cheek products, I've really I still love powder products, don't get me wrong. I still love a good powder product for sure. But I have really veering towards more cream and liquid products in the past couple of years, and that's just what I'm trying mostly. And yeah. If you are looking for reviews on some of the newer things that I bought when I was in London, I definitely bought quite a few like cream and liquidy things in terms of cheek products when I was in London. I'm still making my way through those products and really sort of testing them out, and like taking all the pictures with that and stuff. So bear with me as we're going through things. I mean, I went to London and then we also got the new Essence and Catrice stuff, and there's only so much I can try. I only have one face, and my skin is quite sensitive. So like what doesn't really work for me is like do a makeup look, take it all off, do a full face makeup look again, and like doing that like several times a day, as some creators do. I can do that, but I shouldn't do it every single day because my skin will just hate me. So yeah, I'm slowly but surely making my way through everything. And in case you want to know what it is that I'm reviewing in a given month, just check out my Shop My Stash videos. At the start of the month, usually on a Tuesday, I will always give you an overview of all of the makeup that I'm testing out, that I had tested out in the month before that, and the thing I change out the most are my cheek products, because I really want to rotate through them. Sometimes I really keep a product in there for a longer period of time to try and hit pan. But yeah, the cheek product department is definitely where I find a lot of enjoyment when it comes to makeup, and I try out a lot. So I think there's actually quite a few changes here as well. Maybe not that many as I think right now, but yeah. I think there are some changes here for sure. What I don't think there are going to be a lot of changes in is my powder bronzer category. Even though last time I did this, I may have had like a drugstore and a high-end powder, but today I was like, you know what? These are like my solid 3. If I think of the 3 bronzers I've used the most all year, it's these guys. The one that's on my face and currently in my Shop My Stash is my Dior Forever Natural Bronzer in the shade Tan Bronze. It is a cool tone bronzer. How many have you found those in your life? Not that many. This comes in a bunch of shades. Definitely go into store to see which one is right for you, because I had not pegged myself to be a tan bronze girly when I just saw the shade names online. So I definitely picked this out in store, and this is just, it's gorgeous. I don't know about you. It adds warmth, but not too much because of that cooler undertone. Like for some people, this is going to be a straight up gray, but for me, it's just, we need more cooler tone bronzers in our life. And this is just perfect. So that's why I really rate my Dior bronzer very highly. One that I think I had in my Shop My Stash for the entire summer because I was desperate to try and see if I could hit pan on it. My Fenty Beauty Sun Stalker bronzer in the Sun. This thing, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but I've got rings going on in the middle. That's how much I've used this. I definitely think I'm close. When I stick my finger in this to swatch it, I can feel the dip. There's a huge dip. I keep getting hard pan over in this corner, so I always scrape it off a little bit. This again, for fair-skinned people, is one of the best bronzers on the market because it's just light enough. So many bronzers. Nars Laguna, anyone who remembers that hype? It's far too dark for me, even though they've come out with other Lagunas now and it comes in different shades. I definitely still need to try some of that, but there are so many bronzers to go around and so little time. And to be quite fair, Essence and Catrice can do pretty good bronzers as well. They're not featured in the bronzer category today in terms of powder because I don't feel any of their recent formulas have been that exciting. However, Catrice does have that new cream bronzer, but I haven't tested it out enough to really be labeling it as a favorite. So that's why we're sticking to this. I think I can hit pan on this next year. It's more of a summer time bronzer for me because this has a little bit more warmth, so it works best on me in the summertime, I feel. But if you are fair and you want a good bronzer for the winter time, when you get pasty pale like me and it's winter and looking this bronzed can just look a little jarring on your skin tone, don't pass up on this guy. If you're thinking, Mikey, you're holding up your Kiko powder. No, I'm not. This is the Flawless Fusion Bronzing Powder in 01. I always forget the shade name because Kiko doesn't put it on the product, only on their website. This is the best, and the lightest bronzer I have ever found. And this again has a cooler undertone, which at the drugstore is quite special because especially drugstore bronzers tend to be far too orange on my skin tone. This in the winter time, chef's kiss every time. It's super duper light, but this comes in 8 shades, I think, so they also have deeper ones. So if you do have medium, light skin, I'm not sure for deep skin whether they really have anything there, but this comes in a bunch of shades, which again, for a drugstore bronzer to come in more than like 2 or 3 shades, well done, Kiko. So again, Kiko, lovely formula. Anything from this like silver packaged line, I love. I highly recommend every product, you could say. But yeah, this is incredibly good, and I really enjoy this one. So this is my like spring and fall, summer and winter, and you're covered. You have all of your powder bronzers that you could possibly need. But in terms of cream bronzer, I think I've made some changes here because I've got 2 products here that I didn't own yet last year, but this one I did, I think. The Rare Beauty Cream Bronzer. Mine is in the shade Power Boost, and it looks like this. It's very gorgeous. It's super light, very easy to apply. I can still, like, what I do with this though is that I warm it up on the back of my hand and then pick it up with a brush and then I apply it. It just makes life a little bit easier. I find that with these stick bronzers, if I put it on directly onto my skin, it can mess up my makeup a little too much. But yeah, this is lovely. I still rate this very highly, and so far it's one of my favorite stick bronzers. But another stick bronzer that came out this year and that I've compared to the Milk Makeup Bronzer in Baked in a short, if you want to see. This, the Essence Baby Got Bronze Bronzer. Mine is in the shade 10 Cinnamon Spice. Is the packaging incredibly cheap and flunk? Yeah, it is. Do you get a lot of product in here? Not necessarily, but for the $3.99 it goes for, or maybe this is $4.99 by now, I don't know. Same method of application as the Rare Beauty for me here. Why aren't you closing? There we go. Same method of application as with the Rare Beauty here for me. I warm this up on the back of my hand, pick it up with a brush and apply it, and I love this. I think the shade is lovely. It works a little bit better for me even than the Milk Makeup. It's a little creamier. The shade is a little bit lighter and a little bit more cool tone. The one in Baked by Milk is just a little bit warmer. So for me, this just works really well. I just wish this came in sturdier packaging, but it is a really stunning product from Essence. And what is currently in my shop, my stash as well. And I'm actually surprised because I was like looking through my collection. I was like, I think I actually do want to feature this. And this is something I bought because so many people put it in their end of year favorites last year. And it's the Revolution Cream Bronzer in the shade Light. The Ultra cream bronzer. And this I can actually apply right from the compact. I just need to be very careful because one dip with my brush is enough to cover my entire forehead. And I've got a big forehead, so you don't need a lot with this, and if you use a light hand, this is very, very beautiful indeed. Very nice creamy formula. And what I've tested out with the Catrice one, the new cream bronzer, feels very similar to this. So if you don't want to support Makeup Revolution and you rather get the Catrice one, I think you're making as good of a bet, but that one I need to test a little bit more. This is currently in my Shop My Stash and it's being tested out and I'm loving it. So that's why it had to get a mention here. The next category is going to be powder highlighter, and I don't think there are too many changes here. I think one of them is new, but the other two I've definitely mentioned before. And the first one I need to mention is the highlighter that goes with the bronzer from Dior that I just showed you. This is the Dior Forever Couture Luminizer in Pink Glow. And this, if you're looking for an ethereal looking highlight, but it's a powder, this one. It's so, so pretty. And I had pretty much sworn off these icy pink kind of highlighters after trying a few in the We Need to See a Highlighter from Space era. You remember that one? And I was just not a fan because it just sits on the skin a little weirdly, even though I have a cooler undertone. But if it lays too much on your skin, it's just not that pretty. But this blends in seamlessly. You get a little bit of pearl, like here you can see that shine a little bit, but it looks like nothing in the pan until you apply it to the brush, to the cheeks, and it catches the light. That's the kind of powder highlight I want, and that's what I hold now every highlighter too, like this quality. If you can give me this. I still have some of my more intense things because they're fun to play with, and I still enjoy those formulas, but this is, nothing holds a candle to this one. But if you want a more affordable alternative to the Dior one, then I think the more recent Essence Give Me Glow highlighters. This is in the shade Lovely Rose, and I feel this does a very similar thing. Again, it looks, if the light doesn't catches it, it looks very unassuming. This also comes in a champagne gold if you have a warmer undertone. Lovely Rose is a bit cooler toned. It looks warm toned in the pan, and it even looked warm toned when I swatched it. And then I applied it to my cheeks with a brush, and guess what happened? The same thing as what the Dior thing does. So I feel they're not true dupes. I wouldn't say they're 100% shade dupes. I feel the shade of the Dior one is a little bit more icy, cool toned, a little bit more ethereal, whimsical looking. This is a little bit more of a standard shade. But the effect it gives on the cheeks and the way this formula feels, I mean, again, with Essence, the packaging feels super cheap. I'm afraid this is going to break any minute, but the product inside is absolutely beautiful. So if you've been sleeping on these Essence highlighters, go snatch it up because this is lovely. And last but not least, have I ever not raved about this? This was in my Shop My Stash last month. The Nabla Skin Glazing Highlighters in the shade Privilege. This is just great. I mean, I've scratched this top half so much. This is a peach toned highlighter, which I really enjoy because I have both cooler and warmer tones in my skin tone. Peaches actually work quite well on me in both blush and highlighter shades. So that's why I rate this very highly. This was definitely something I discovered as I was getting out of my icy pink sort of preference, that these kind of things sort of, it's just the best of both worlds. It's not super warm because it has a cooler flash, but it's not overly icy because it has that warmth to the base color very often. And that's why it works on me. And this formula is still one of my favorites. That's why it's here. And again, when it comes to cream and liquid highlighter, I have definitely decluttered quite a few things. And I just have a couple of solid favorites in this category that I go back to all the time. The Glossier Halo Scope. Mine is looking very grubby. This is in the shade Quartz, and I still love this. This was in my Shop My Stash several times over the summer period. I reach for this so much whenever it is in my makeup drawer because it is just so flawless looking every single time. If you truly want that glossy face look, this is the one. This is the one. I can't get enough of this. I'm so glad I purchased this. Mine is getting a little bit old though. It still smells okay. It feels okay. It doesn't look weird when I put it on, so I'm still using it and I'm still loving it. And next up, a favorite that I've shown you in the past is the Rare Beauty ooh, what's this called? The Liquid Luminizer in Mesmerize. This is the peach toned liquid highlighter of choice. This is really pretty, but it comes with a bunch of product. Very, very much product, and you definitely don't need all of this. This is beautiful. I really, really like this. I do like to apply this with fingers though. Again, I put a little bit of it on the back of my hand, dab my finger into it, and then I apply it around my orbital bone right here. That's what that's called in English, right? I hope so. My medical terminology in English isn't the best. I know bits because I watched ER in the 90s with my mom. That's the only medical terminology I know in English. So yeah, this bone right here, that C shape, that's where I like to apply it. As you can see, I've done today. And this is just incredibly beautiful. Again, same reason as for the Nabla, the peach undertone, and this is quite a pinky peach, I feel. And I like this a little bit better on me, and especially because this is a liquid formula, it just blends seamlessly with my skin tone because it has a very transparent base, I find, and you just get the shine, even though it looks like it's got a lot of color in the bottle. And finally, this is on my cheeks again today. It's currently in my Shop My Stash, but I had already tried this a couple of times over the past couple of months, and I was shocked to find that I had not written a dedicated review to the RMS Beauty Living Luminizer. And this was a product that had been on my wish list for the longest time. I think I saw Jessica Braun raving about this years ago, but it was just one of those brands that was difficult to get. And then, you know, whenever Black Friday came around, I was like, but then I'll go over budget. So I never actually picked it up. And then I found this as part of a little set in Sephora when I was in Paris last November. And I picked up the little set. It came with a mascara and one of their liquid shadows as well. And I've been using this every single day this past Shop My Stash. I'm just using it every single day because look at how natural it looks. And it looks, again, it looks like nothing in the pan, but it looks so, so pretty. I love the shine it gives to the face. However, I think I may have found a dupe for this because I went into Superdrug in the UK when I was in London, and the Superdrug name brand had a face gloss, and I think they may be dupes. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure whether it has the same wear time as this does because this is a face gloss, essentially. It's not even a highlighter. And I was afraid whenever I had seen this on counters, it looked really, really gross and very greasy looking. I was like, that's not gonna look nice. It's gonna break up my makeup. But this, it's a similar effect as the Glossier Halo Scope, I'm not gonna lie, but this I could wear, well, like until I'm dead, because this has no shimmer, no pearl, no nothing. I think this can look beautiful on very young skin and very old skin, and no matter what age you are, if you want to wear highlighter anywhere on your face or body even, this is stunning. So last but not least, we have blush, and I'm going to kick things off with powder blush first. With blush, I've paid more attention to actual formulas for this video than particular shades. If you want to see what shades I like in different blush categories, I wasn't able to finish it because I just completely ran out of time and energy to do that, but I was sort of planning in August to show you my top 5 favorite products in all of these different categories, and I did blushes. So if you want to see my favorite peach tone blushes, my favorite mauve tone blushes, my favorite brighter blushes, those are all filmed as shorts here on the channel, including swatches. So look those up if you want to see like actual like color families in terms of blush and making choices that way. But this way, I just had to be very selective for this video, and I didn't want to overload it. So that's why we're starting things off with powders first. And one of my favorite powders and one of my favorite shades is a mauve. And we need to talk about this. This is the Pat McGrath Divine Blush in the shade Divine Rose. And this was the first one I tried, and this is now the standard that I hold all of my mauve tone blushes to because I had way too many. So when I decluttered earlier in the year, I actually filmed a swatch round of my entire makeup collection, pretty much. Like I did an overview of all of my foundations, all of my concealers, and then my blush, bronzer, highlighters, and my lipsticks. And I swatched every single item for you guys. Also to help myself when I like as a preparation for my declutter, because I knew I had like 15 mauve tone blushes in a powder format. I don't need 15 powder mauve tone blushes. I don't. Nobody does. And since this is my favorite, so I was like, I can keep a couple, but I can't keep too many. So this one definitely had to stay because I love this formula. It's stunning. I love the Pat McGrath blush formula so much. And it's stunning. And because I love this so much, I actually wanted to try the Pat McGrath bronzer. I had not been able to find it anywhere, but they had it at the Pat McGrath counter in Selfridges. Swatched it, and the lightest shade is super yellow. So I just know I'm not gonna enjoy that because I've tried other things by now that I know I don't need a yellow tone bronzer. So skipping the bronzer, but I'm loving those blushes. I also need to rave about one of my favorite formulas by Catrice, the Catrice Cheek Lover oil infused blush. This is in Blooming Hibiscus, and this is one I had initially not spotted, but I don't know why, but I wanted to try this. I was like at my Kruidvat very randomly, picked this up, and it's gorgeous. It's that NARS Orgasm coral with a golden sheen kind of look, but the reason why it looks gold in the packaging is because there's a gold rim around it. This actually has a cool tone flash. Where NARS Orgasm was always a little bit too warm for me. I don't love corals on me usually, but this is the happy exception. This one as well, formula-wise, wowza. I already mentioned it in other videos, but Catrice is the kind of brand that when they get it right, they outperform luxury high-end brands, and this is another one of the Catrice products that does that for me. It's incredibly stunning. And finally, I already showed you the highlighter. We need to talk about the blush formula as well. Nabla Skin Glazing blush this time in Lola. And this is like that brighter watermelon pink kind of shade. Again, because of the golden rim, it looks more coral in the pan. But I feel on the cheeks, it gives this like fresh in from the cold kind of thing. Or this is a little bit more warmer tone, so I wear this more so in the summertime because then it gives that, like when I get a sunburn kind of vibe, that's what it does. So this goes really well with my skin tone, and I just really love this. It's a very, very pretty shade. It was again in my Shop My Stash last month, and it's a blush I reached for all the time, and the embossing and the name of this is starting to wear down. And that's how you just know that a blush is your favorite, if the imprint on it actually starts to wear down, and it looks like you might actually eventually hit pan on this. Shall we talk liquid blushes next? And I think there's no surprise here. In terms of liquid blush, I don't have a whole lot. I still want to try those new MUA ones that I picked up in London, but they're duping the Glossier ones. And I knew I already liked the Glossier formula. They didn't really do many shades yet that I liked. But then they came out with Wisp, and when I bought this, I couldn't resist, and I had to put it on my face straight away. And this is the cool toned purpley pink that they didn't do just yet in their line previously. This launched like a couple of months ago only. I think start of summer they launched this together with another shade, and this is great. This is Wisp. It's definitely that shade on the cheeks as well. So if you want a cool toned liquid blush, check out Glossier. But I think still, till this day, my favorite liquid blush formula is by K-Beauty. It's by Apieu, and this is their Juicy Pang Blusher. I'm holding up the shade Cherry, but I have 4 of these, and I still love all of them, and I actually decluttered a lot of my M Cosmetics ones that are actually the same thing as this, but this is a lot cheaper and easier to use. So yeah, I kept this over a much more high-end option. I think these are like 5 or 6 euros on YESSTYLE. They are incredibly affordable. They do some stunning shades, lighter things, more neutral things. It's just an incredible, incredible formula, and I can't rave about it enough. And finally, something I also cannot rave enough about is Rare Beauty's liquid blush formula. This is the just blush in Hope. This is also formulated or made in Korea, so maybe like it's in the same factory as Apieu, who knows. Hope is my favorite one of the ones I had. I decluttered Grace because that one was very difficult to play with. I think they've changed the formula in some of these later blush tones for sure, and this is the lightest one they do. It's a very beautiful neutral peachy shade on me, that I just adore, and this, every single time I wear it, yes, it's quite warm toned, but I do really like this in the summertime, and the glow this gives is really lovely. I definitely want to get more of these, I think. I think there's a new shade that they're doing as part of a little mini set now for the holidays. I think I want to get my hands on that mini set if I can. And finally, cream blush. And I think cream blush I've tried quite a bit. I decluttered quite a bit because it wasn't truly a vibe. But this, again, was sent to me in PR, full disclosure here. But the Victoria Beckham Posh Blush in the shade Mini Skirt. And this thing, it's like a deeper mauve tone, and it's so, so stunning. It's more like a deeper, warm, rosy leaning mauve, I should say. But this is so stunning, especially coming up right now for the fall time. This like burned rose look is so, so pretty. And this can actually work on the lips. It can work on the eyes. You can do a full monochromatic look because this sets. You don't have a lot of time to play with it, which is why when I first tried it, I wasn't very enthusiastic about it, but then I put it in and Shop My Stash and I started using it actively. And it's one of those products that I just couldn't put down. You know, very often, or well, often, not that often actually, but sometimes it just happens that I put something in my Shop My Stash and it's then the only thing I want to reach for all of a sudden. And I know that that's a sign of a true, true favorite, and this is one of them. But I've also shared with you my love for the MAC Glow Play blushes. This is a cream to powder, so I'm not sure if I'm cheating here. Currently, I have the plummy version of this in my Shop My Stash because it's perfect for the fall time. And this is the one that I like to use more so in the spring-summer season. This is the Glow Play blush in Heat Index. And I know that some of you have bought this off of my recommendation. It's this really vibrant, peachy, corally pink that's just stunning, and it works every time. It's a weird putty texture when you stick your fingers in, and as I mentioned, it's a cream to powder, so it applies like a cream but sets down like a powder, so this won't budge once it's on, which especially in the summertime it works quite well. And I was really happy to have this in my Shop My Stash in the other shade that I have because it worked beautifully on for the warmer weather that we've been having here. And finally, the final cream blush I want to share with you is my Armani. This is the Neo Nude Melting Color Balm for cheeks and eyes in shade 50. And this is one of my perfect all-time like cool tone things. It can look a little bit gray, but especially in winter. This is so, so pretty on. And this is now again like one of those mauve tone blushes that I just hold all mauve tone blushes to because I don't think I've quite found anything that is this cool toned. Save for maybe the Wisp one because that has like a bluish undertone. I definitely think that this winter I want to do like an overview of some of my favorite like cooler tone blush shades and include this and the Glossier one. And now that I have the Glossier one, I also really want to try that Tower 28 cream blush that they launched, I think earlier this year. I think they launched it in the springtime. They also came out with this like grape colored kind of blush. So I definitely want to try some more cooler tone blushes so I can do an overview for you of some of my favorite cool toned, like perfect for winter kind of blush shades. And this is definitely one of them. So that's it. There you have it. Those were all of the cheek products that I wanted to share with you as part of my top 3 favorites for this year, you could say. We still have one installment left, so if you'd like to stay tuned for more, I'm saving the best for last. We're talking eyes next. So yeah, I hope you would like to continue watching my channel, and in the meantime, I wish you all the best. Have a great day, and I hope to see you very, very soon in a new video. Bye-bye.